Welcome to Strong Minds, Loving Hearts, Independence Mission Schools podcast. My name is Nick Huck. I'm the principal at St. Helena-Incarnation Catholic School, and I'm here with Jason Jiang, a graduate of St. Helena-Incarnation. Today we're going to talk with Jason about his time here at St. Helena-Incarnation, how he went on to LaSalle, and how he's planning to go to Yale University next year. Welcome, Jason. This is great to have you back.
Thank you.
And so we're so proud of everything you've done while you were here and all of your accomplishments. I'd like to start just hearing about what are your plans for the fall?
My plans for the fall. So I'll be attending college.
Gotcha. Where are you headed to?
I'm headed to Yale.
Awesome, great. So you have a QuestBridge scholarship, is that correct?
Yes.
Can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. So for the QuestBridge scholarship, I specifically applied in September, and it's just an organization that helps first-generation low-income students become recipients of scholarships to high-level universities, specifically the top 50 in the United States. There are about 52 college partners that you can select, and I got matched with Yale.
That's awesome. Congratulations. Am I right in that it covers all of tuition, all of board, and some other costs as well, travel and things like that? Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. And there's some stipulations specifically around work study, but pretty much everything is all covered.
That's awesome. Congratulations. So you would be the third St. Helena-Incarnation grad in 4 years to have that scholarship.
Wow.
Christina, who graduated maybe 3 years ahead of you, is at University of Penn, and then Victoire graduated a year ahead of you, is at Chicago.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. It's St. Helena Legacy.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Awesome. So what do you plan to study at Yale?
I don't know yet, but I'm pretty much thinking about being pre-med and specifically studying public health, but I'm still keeping an open mind about where that takes me.
Awesome. Great. I'm sure whatever you do, you'll find success there. So you just graduated from LaSalle.
Yeah.
Right? Can you share a little bit about your 4 years there, what it was like, what you enjoyed, what things you were involved in?
Sure. So I just recently graduated in May, and at LaSalle, I was pretty much involved in everything. And I look back on it, it was a great experience. And mainly at LaSalle, I was involved in the fine arts department. I did debate, and I played the cello as part of the chorus. But pretty much everybody knew me to do kind of everything at that school. But
so everyone knew who you were?
I don't know about that, but I think my face showed up a couple times here and there. But
Awesome. Great, not surprised.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. The cello, you didn't play the cello when you were here at St. Helena-Incarnation, did you?
No, I started the cello freshman year of high school.
What made you get interested in the cello?
I kind of always wanted to play a musical instrument, and that kind of happened when, specifically in the music room downstairs, where we were playing the recorder or playing the ukulele and things like that. And I just always thought that, music was something that I really wanted to do. Right. And it started here. I
remember going into a music class here, and the students were playing Pirates of the Caribbean, but there was the little bouncing ball going over the notes.
Yeah.
And they could strum 2 chords.
Yeah.
And so whenever it got to the right chord, they would strum that chord. So they couldn't play the entire thing, but the second graders were playing Pirates of the Caribbean parts of it. And they were pretty excited by it.
Yeah, it's really hard for middle schoolers to be able to play, but yeah, those are one of the things I look back on, and it's pretty cool that I got involved in music at some capacity here.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you said you were also involved in debate as well. How'd you find debate when you were there?
I stumbled into debate. How it happened was really kind of a blur. I just kind of entered into a classroom, and people were discussing. They had a team meeting specifically for debate, and I just kind of jumped at it, and the rest is history. And that's what I did mainly for the past 4 years of high school.
If we go back to 8th grade, how did you get to LaSalle? You applied to several schools, is that right?
So I applied to several schools along with special admit schools, public schools in Philadelphia.
So I remember having a conversation with you, and there's 2 schools you were looking at, LaSalle and another school, right?
And another school, yes.
And the other school is a great school, and I think you had probably pretty equal scholarships or something like that.
Yeah.
And I said, I encourage you to make a decision, and you decided on LaSalle.
Yes.
Right. I was happy to let the other school know, but I one of the things we try to do here is you say if the students can do it, students should do it, right? So if you can politely tell the other school that you were declining their full tuition scholarship, or very close to full tuition scholarship, I think you sent that email. Is that right?
I did send that email.
Right. So
yeah.
I distinctly remember that because 5 minutes later, I got a call from their admissions director saying, "What happened with Jason Jiang? Right? Why is he not coming here?" And I explained the story that you had decided to go to LaSalle. And I remember asking at the end, like, can we do anything else for you? He said, no, just keep churning out good students like Jason.
Yeah.
There was some disappointment that you weren't attending their school.
I remember it was like a crazy decision to make, especially it was January and, we were still all virtual, and that decision, I still remember that specific Zoom call we had. I remember when it was just after class just ended and you popped into a Zoom meeting and you were like, whatever decision you make, I'll support. And I remember that was like huge, specifically as like a 14-year-old deciding where I should be in the next 4 years. So I really do appreciate that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right. And things obviously worked out. You had a lot of success at LaSalle. And not that you wouldn't have had success no matter where you went, but it certainly shaped you. LaSalle shapes you to who you are, and I'm sure Yale will shape you as well.
Yeah, this place shaped me who I was too. And I think a lot of who I am is also shaped by the friendships and the community that was built here. And really, I wouldn't have been as open to opportunities at LaSalle if it wasn't for here and all the opportunities I've received here.
I hope I have this right. Mm-hmm. I heard that you completed the entire application on your own to LaSalle.
Yeah.
And you did all the financial aid on your own.
Yeah.
And there were no mistakes in any of that paperwork or any of the information you submitted.
Hopefully. They never notified me that I had any mistakes, but I didn't know what exactly I was doing. I was sure that if there were any mistakes, they would tell me, but I guess, yeah.
Yeah, the whole process. The only person ever to do it all, only student to ever do that entire process on their own and make no mistakes. So was going to LaSalle intimidating at all?
It was intimidating, only because at St. Helena it's a smaller class size, and then I'm jumping into a class size of 300 people. Yeah. And I think that part was kind of intimidating, but other than that, I think academically I transitioned fine, and socially, I found my friends, and that was very important.
Great. I remember the high school night we had here. I remember. Yeah. So every year we have this robust high school night. A lot of high schools come, right, and students and families are able to meet those schools.
I do remember something like that. I do remember that, and I remember the high school fair was super strange in a way, because it was now I have so many options, and now where do I go? And all these high schools are trying to tell you, hey, our school is the best for your kid, and our school is the best for you. Yeah. And having that opportunity is just it's so empowering to know that there are so many schools out there that you can be looking for. Even though it's daunting, even though it's kind of scary, I don't know where I'm going, but having the opportunity here is definitely something that makes St. Helena so special. Do you have a teacher that you remember distinctly here? Oh, there are so many, but I was just talking to my 7th grade teacher, math teacher, Miss Silva, just an hour ago, and the reason why I remember her so fondly and so many different other teachers is that teachers here at St. Helena really do want you to succeed, no matter what that looks like, and they're willing to meet you where you're at, and that's exactly what Ms. Silva did. And specifically in my 7th grade, that was when COVID hit. So in March, teachers are on Zoom meetings, and this is unprecedented. This has never happened, but I still remember Ms. Silva so vividly, because I remember how she still taught. She did exactly what she knew how to do, and I still learned that year, and not a lot of students can say that, especially during that unprecedented time. So I think teachers here are really supportive, and I think they're really adaptive to the times.
Did you have Mr. Peach?
I did. I did have him.
Did you have him for math or reading, or for both?
So I had him for English and social studies.
What was his classroom like?
Oh, that class was really, I remember it being very, very difficult. And I think the reason why it was really difficult was that he really did push us. I remember in social studies, and specifically geography, that was his main thing. He loved geography, and we would have to look at landmarks and look at the rivers and look at agriculture.
He had all the maps that came down, pull down off the wall.
Exactly. He'd have all these things, and he would have to make us label them. And I remember being a 5th grader, and I'm I don't know how to do any of this. I don't know what the Appalachian Mountains look like, but I remember he really did believe in us and believe that we could match up to his expectations.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I still really remember where the Appalachian Mountains are very vividly.
Awesome.
So yeah.
And then you and Ms. Karam in 8th grade, right?
I did.
Another teacher?
Yeah, I did.
For ELA?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it. And there's some grammar involved, I think, in that class.
Yes. Yes, I do remember. And that too was during COVID, and it was online until the back half of my 8th grade year. But I think about that time, and it was just, we still read a lot of books, and we still were able to think critically about the text we read, which is so special.
She still is a great teacher.
Yes, she always advocated for her students, and she was always advocating for us to read more. And even during COVID, she would say, you need to read. And and that's exactly what we did.
What year did you start here at St. Helena-Incarnation?
So I started here my 1st grade year. I actually transferred here mid-October.
All right.
And the rest was history.
Where were you in kindergarten and pre-K?
I was at a different school. I was specifically in Chinatown, and I was there for kindergarten and pre-K.
All right, so you moved up here then in this neighborhood?
So I still stayed, but I just moved. I specifically moved here 1st grade because my previous school was no longer running, so then I came here.
So about half of our students here at St. Helena-Incarnation are from families where English might not be the primary language at home. And your family speaks Mandarin, is that right?
Yeah.
How did you sort of balance speaking Mandarin at home and learning English here?
Yeah, I think that part was kind of difficult in a way where you have to be able to communicate in 2 different languages. But here at St. Helena, I was still able to find people that were like me and find kids who are in the exact position I am, who spoke Mandarin at home, who spoke English. And I remember just kids on the bus or kids in the classroom who looked exactly like me, who had the same background as me, and having that community here and knowing that there are so many different people here that are also looking out for you is super important and super special.
I mean, I tell the students that they have a superpower that I wish I had. I can speak English and a tiny bit of Spanish, but just their ability to navigate different worlds, their ability to speak another language, to communicate with how many other people that I wouldn't be able to is impressive.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yes, definitely. It's super special, and at first you might think it's more of a hassle, but as you just grow and expand and into different opportunities and at different capacities, you really realize how much knowing 2 languages is so special, but also having that community that supports you is just another thing and another gift that I don't take for granted.
Got it. Can we go back to the QuestBridge scholarship for a minute?
Sure.
What was the application process like, and then how did you find out?
I think that's a great question. It's very daunting when you are a 1st generation and or a low income student to be able to navigate this process. So at first, how I got involved with QuestBridge was junior year. Specifically for QuestBridge, there's a junior year program called College Prep Scholars, and it usually opens up in February, and you apply. And then once you become a college prep scholar, you gain access to college resources like videos and tips about how to craft your college application or how to theme your college application. So that's how I initially got involved with QuestBridge. And then afterwards, what happens is in September, or in August rather, the national match opens up. So then students will apply, students will fill out essays specifically for QuestBridge, and then they'll fill out short answer prompts about specific prompts like what's your favorite book and things like that are typical to a college application, but only for QuestBridge specifically. In mid-October, you'll find out if you're a finalist or not. And then when you find out you are a QuestBridge finalist, you begin to rank schools, and from the 52 college partners that they have, you basically rank up to 15 schools on what you would like to do, where you would like to go, and consider, is this a possibility? It's kind of similar if anybody's familiar with how med school does it, or how any other application process that uses a ranking format. That's how they do it. From there, you'll fill out supplementals specifically for the college, and then from there on, you're really just dealing with applications to that specific college and not with QuestBridge, because at that time, colleges will already have received your QuestBridge material and your finances, and just through there, you'll just apply and fill out the supplementals there. It's a really constrained timeline. So for me, I found out on October 15th that I was a national match finalist. I was actually at St. Joe's taking my dual enrollment class, and I remember like, this is crazy. Like I just like became a finalist. From there, I had literally 16 days to fill out 9 different applications.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because it was due on November 1st. Right. And so yeah, it's really a constrained timeline, and then you do all these things, and it's really daunting at first, but it definitely pays off, because on December 2nd, I remember going home after school, and I remember, okay, this is it. What do I do? Like, I hadn't applied to any colleges before. This is like, I don't know what else to do after this. So then I open up the application. I'm on FaceTime with one of my friends, and I open it up and I log in, and I'm like, whatever happens, happens, right? Whatever happens, happens. And I remember I opened up and it was congratulations. And I like immediately jumped up, because I was like, okay, at least I matched to one of the 9 schools, right? Those 9 schools I wanted to go to. So anyone, I would be happy. And then I read down, and it was like, congratulations, you're one of 66 scholars, QuestBridge scholars at Yale. And I was like, that's crazy. That was my number 1 choice.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, I ranked Yale 1, and I remember that moment was surreal. It was just like everything I've done from like middle school to like high school, like built up to this moment where, yeah, like now I'm the first in my family to attend college and on a full ride, and that's just really special. And one of the things that, you know, makes everything so worth it, and I'm just really excited for this opportunity coming up.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Congratulations. What were your parents' reaction to that?
Yeah, so I initially called my mom, and then I was like, hey, like they didn't know. Well, it's kind of hard, like you mentioned before, like for people like me, like who don't come from a background of like parents who speak English, I didn't really inform them on this process. I just told them that, hey, I was applying to college. And I called my mom and I was like, I'm going to Yale. And then she was like, what? I was like, I'm going to Yale. And then she's like, oh, really? That's cool. And then my parents aren't ones to be like, oh my God, congratulations, and like, you know, big reaction. But they just like, yeah, that's great. And then I remember thinking like, hey, like, this is like kind of crazy to be able to tell my parents like, yeah, I'm going to college. I'm going to college. Like, that's crazy. And then I told my dad, he kind of gave the same reaction too. And then I told my brother, and then he was like,
hey, what did Jonas say?
He was like, what? Again, he was like, what? And then he's like, and I was like, I'm going to Yale. And then he was like, oh, cool. And that was it. But he's like, but then ever since then, like for my like college away, like going away gift, like he got me like a Yale hoodie, and like, I think like they're all like supportive, but they're not ones to be able to like say, hey, congratulations, giving me like a big, like that's just not something that my family does, but I think they're all really excited for me.
I bet.
So yeah.
I bet. So your parents had no sense that you were applying for QuestBridge?
No. They didn't, and it was just one of those things that's kind of hard to explain. I mean, right now I just explained to you like in like 4 minutes like how it works, and it's just like one of those like things like with language barriers. You know, at LaSalle, everybody's like, okay, you like did your like application by yourself. But I think from here, like I also like had exposure to doing those things already. Like I think from a young age already, I had exposure to that, and I think it makes it like so much easier later in life, like especially with college applications, to be able to, you know, like you said, if you can do it, you should do it. And having built up that resilience is really important, and having community and support when you can is also super important.
So I imagine the college counseling program at LaSalle was fairly robust, right? And they were supportive, and they were helping you along the way.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
But you're the one who's filling out the FAFSA form, I imagine.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That's incredible. How did St. Helena-Incarnation prepare you?
I think it prepared me in many ways. I mean, academically, yes, like math, reading, definitely. But I think most importantly, how it prepared me is being open to talking to people, being open to finding community. I think it started very early when, you know, it was just like elementary school, when, you know, you just have kids from so many different backgrounds, and you'd have kids that come from so many different households and so many different lived experiences. And from there, I was more open to being able to understand other people and being able to participate in this community. at different capacities, like in church or just in the classroom.
That's great. One of the things you participated in, I think I have a photo of it right here. You were principal for a day.
Yes, I was.
So here's a photo of you as principal for a day. I think you had the option of dressing down.
Oh yeah. That photo is terrible.
Well, Ms. Silva said it to me last night when I told her we were doing this, and she said you had the option of dressing down. You came in a full suit and tie.
Let's go back. So 7th grade year, we get this notification. Ms. Silva unwraps the photo that she always gets in the morning with everything. I don't know if that's still true, but she gets everything. And then with all the bus passes or all the notifications, she gets this paper that says, hey, so you can apply, like any student in your class can apply to be principal of a day, and you submit an essay, and from there, the principal will choose, you would choose, and who would get it. And then I remember thinking more, hey, this would be kind of a cool opportunity. Why not? Like throughout my journey here, it has always been like, why not? Like, why not try that thing out? Why not just do that? You never get a shot like this ever again. So then I write my essay. I don't exactly remember what I wrote my essay on, but I remember thinking at the time when I was writing it that something along the lines of, I really want this because I want to know what other grades are doing, like what everybody else is doing, right? I was always curious. And then I was selected for principal of the day. And then I remember you pulled me to the hallway and you were like, congrats, you got it. So tomorrow you can dress down for the day. And then I remember thinking to myself, why would I do that? Like, I want to be principal of the day. So I want to look like in a suit, like in a tie, right? Like, because that's what principals do. So I was taking it really seriously. And then the day comes, and then we walk around in the different classrooms. We say hi to all the teachers I had before, and it felt really cool being able to visit past memories. And then we had that conversation specifically about where I was going to high school, what I was thinking. That day really felt empowering because it was like I was taking a trip down memory lane and thinking about, hey, like this is my past, and now I'm thinking of my future. Like the two kind of juxtaposing each other, and I was thinking, wow, like I want to be somewhere where I can feel this, where I can feel this community.
Right.
So, yeah, that was why, like, I still remember Principal of the Day so vividly. But how did you remember it?
It was a few years ago.
Yeah.
But probably similarly, right? There's students sort of continue to write essays. Why do they want to be principal for a day?
Yeah.
Or a few sentences, and then you go from there, and then you invite them in to be principal for a day, and we visit classrooms, and go through all the classrooms, and we look at lesson plans, and they use a little stamp to stamp. The lesson plan's great. And then they're in 8th grade, and they give the 8th graders a dress down day. So all the especially when you have a principal who's principal for a day who's a 2nd grader, you have a whole classroom of 8th graders cheering for you. It feels pretty good as a 2nd grader.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a fun moment for everyone there.
Yeah, definitely one of those moments that makes it so special. Yeah. And obviously it's way harder to be principal than just stamping lesson plans.
Slightly.
But what is your favorite memory about being principal? Because you're not just principal of the day, you're principal every single day.
There's obviously great memories when students come back like yourself and you see them, or hear about them finding success beyond St. Helena-Incarnation, because that's ultimately what we're trying to do, is to prepare students for high school and for heaven. Right? And so you see yourself, you see other students finding success. I think there's also the successes that you see in students. Our students this past year made over 120% growth in math and reading. So it's like
That's huge.
Yeah, learning 12 months of math and reading in 10 months of school. It's phenomenal. So incredible students and great teachers and great families and great partnerships. And it's so exciting to see those. It's also exciting to see the human growth in students as well. So students who, maybe they're making some bad decisions and they kind of turn things around and they start working harder in class, or they stop making those bad decisions. You can see them grow and you can see them develop. They start meeting some of the expectations and they start growing to see themselves a little bit differently. I think that is probably the most, one of the more exciting things.
Something jogged my memory when you just said success beyond St. Helena, and I was thinking about how that was something that you always told us in 8th grade. Yeah. That was something that you always said, that like, we're not trying to keep you here, but rather we're trying to prepare you for something greater, or having, like, being more open to different things and having the autonomy to make your own decisions. And I think that's really what this place has done and is continuing to do.
Well, I appreciate that. Yes, students have, like yourself, and so many have so much potential. And how do you put students in positions where they can meet that potential, where they can grow and excel?
Yeah, I think it kind of starts in the classroom where teachers are not only just teaching you, but also at the same time engaging with you and meeting where you're at. And I think, when you're teaching a classroom full of kids, like 30 kids, how do you meet them where they're at? But I think what St. Helena teachers do is that they spend time with each individual student. And it looks like many things, right? Like I remember in second grade where we had Miss Tomer and we would read books together, and like you'd have your own reading group, or specifically in seventh grade where we'd have different math tables and we'd do like math problems together. And it's just how teachers here find the time to be able to engage and interact with each individual student that makes you feel like you're worth something, and it makes you feel like you're being valued as a member of the community. Yeah.
Okay, share some updates since you've been gone.
You can.
Sure.
You can. Sure. So everything has changed around here, even this classroom.
Well, so this classroom used to be our technology classroom, and
yes.
we had a fleet of 32 desktop computers
yes.
with the big monitors.
Where we used to do map testing.
That's right.
Yeah.
We used to do all their map testing in here. So post-COVID, everyone has Chromebooks in their classroom, which is great.
That's awesome.
We'll have to show you the gym before you leave.
Yes.
We redid the floors. We have new lighting, we have new curtains, we painted the whole thing. It looks fantastic. Right?
Yeah.
So gym looks great, so we redid that.
Yes.
And then we were talking a little bit earlier about the students, the 50% of our students who come from homes where English is not the primary language. Mm-hmm. We, next year, through some great work from the IMS advancement team, we have someone joining our team here who's going to be working specifically with those students to help them find success more quickly. Wow. So we're super excited about someone to work with our multilingual learners.
Whoa. Yeah, that's amazing. And those resources are really big for students like me. Just having those resources now means so much for students, and all the work you're doing here is just, it's crazy how much this place has changed, but also how much this place hasn't changed. The same spirit lives on, right? And more support is being added, but it's still the same members of the community that are trying to fight for students like me. And I just wanted to say thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who go into making this place work.
Yes.
Do you have any favorite memories when you're here? Anything stick out when you think back to St. Helena-Incarnation?
There's so many memories here that it's hard to pinpoint one, but one specific memory that immediately jumps into mind is fourth grade year. So I walk into the music classroom, and we get sat down, and then our music teacher hands each of us a recorder. And I remember, this is weird. I don't even know how to play this thing. And I remember at the moment that was really special, because that was the first time I got to play a note or know what music is. And that moment really solidified to me that music is something that I do want to pursue, and solidified to me that is something that I want to be able to do in high school. And it's one of the many things, and one of the many memories here where I got to discover tidbits of what I might be interested in, and right. It makes high school so much easier.
Right.
But yeah, I know that you have specific memories from music here. How's the perspective from a principal?
So one of the things we talk about in music and art and the specialist classes is called students should be doing music at music class, right? So they shouldn't be watching movies about music. They should be doing music. So it's awesome when you see students doing it, or Ms. Irma, the art teacher, does a phenomenal job, and students are doing art, right? And their art is posted at some galleries in the Cheltenham area. And so we always talk about our students doing the work, right? And especially you have opportunities inside those classes, right? To actually do the work. Or we took our technology class, we turned it into more of a coding class, right? So students are actually doing some coding, grade appropriate level, but they're doing coding that helps them, that at least to what you were saying, it gives them exposure. No one's probably gonna leave here and start working for Google, but they have an idea that this idea of coding might be valuable, or I might be excited by it. Or in their case, music, they might be excited about pursuing that further, or art, or when we bring in the Claymobile, right? Students might find a passion for that and be able to build on that passion in the future.
I know that there are so many opportunities here at St. Helena, but I've always wondered, how is it for you from an administrative side, being able to get all of these opportunities in the first place and how you navigate those challenges and obstacles?
Sure. So that's a great question. So we're always thinking in the terms of access. How do we provide students with more access, right? And even in the classroom, so you might think about like in eighth grade, how do we provide students with access to grade level material in eighth grade where students can find it and find success in doing that, right? And then you think about that in math and subjects, and like how do you provide students with access to coding or access to art or music or so forth, right? So along those lines, like how do you provide access to students to opportunities outside the classroom that can enrich them and help them grow and help them develop? So we've built some partnerships up. We partner with the Philadelphia Youth Orchestra through a program called Tune Up Philly, and they've come in and they teach our students how to play the violin and the flute. And we had 2 of our students perform at their gala and do an absolutely phenomenal job performing there. We partnered with a group in the neighborhood called Felice Philadelphia, and they're an athletic group, and they provide basketball and soccer opportunities for our students as well. So I think building those partnerships is valuable. That it gives students opportunities, and then internally, some of our teachers have gone to offer activities after school. So we have our own social media club now, where our students create a good portion of our social media.
Oh, that's super cool.
And so one of the things that's interesting that came out of that is that the students who are creating that media became empowered and began to develop like a deeper affinity for the school when they were sharing off when they were creating videos about the school. Right? I think it helped them see a different glimpse of the school, right? Because they weren't normally talking with first graders about why they loved their teacher or why they loved the school, but they were hearing those stories from similar to what you had mentioned, like perhaps a journey down memory lane and learning more about it. So
yeah.
It's also the social media club also is one of those things where if students can do it, students should do it.
Yeah.
Right? And they're
definitely
far more talented at social media than I am. So
definitely, they're doing an amazing job. I've seen the Instagram. They're doing an amazing job.
Thanks.
So how does it feel to hear about student stories like when they graduate, like 10 years past or like 5 years past, and what does it feel like to like hear about their success beyond St. Helena? It's
incredible because I think as a principal of an elementary school, there's always this question of how do our students do, right, when they leave here, right? Knowing that what you spoke about, like their journey's not over, they're still finding themselves, and there's still opportunities for growth and development, and to hear that they're doing well, it's incredible. It's incredible. I think it speaks to to the work that we do here, to the entire staff here. And I think in some ways it gives us hope and excitement that once our students leave here, they're going to continue finding success, which is what we've always wanted, right? That our students continue to find success when they leave here.
Yeah, definitely. I think that when students leave here, high school is definitely very intimidating and definitely a place of just unknown, and you have to navigate different relationships. But I also think at the same time, being in this building where that what's out there and what community actually looks like, that's what empowers people to find that, and that's what empowers people to seek out those relationships, and it truly really starts here at St. Helena.
We've got about 540 students here. What advice would you give to them?
Ooh, that's crazy. It's 540 people. I mean, everybody's different, but I think at the center of what I did and at the center of what I did in high school or just here or something that I look forward to doing is being open to whatever community looks like for you. I think community building for me is really important. And I think a lot of people talk about first impression, like your first impression matters, but I think being open to not only just first impressions, but being open to talking to more people, just understanding their stories and knowing that there are similarities or you can see differences. And I think navigating and just talking to people is really important, not only just talking to your friends, but also talking to your teachers, talking to administrators, getting to know who everybody is in your community. I think that's how we find strength. We find strength through people. And I think being more open to that is really the advice I would give, and really the advice I would give to people finding success in high school, right? Like we think about interpersonal relationships a lot. People empower you to be able to take that next opportunity, to be able to be open to growth. And I think that's super important. Yeah.
Awesome, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. I was going to ask you, what advice would you give to 8th graders who are applying for high school?
I think for 8th graders applying to high school, I know that it's the next 4 years of your life, but it's not That's not your entire life. Right. I think there's a lot of stress into applying, and there's a lot of stress with where I end up or where I go. But just know that wherever you go, you determine what success looks like, and you should be the one making the decision. And that if your gut tells you that's where you want to go, then that's where you should go. You never doubt what your gut says, because it's always going to lead you to the right direction. It's always, always, always going to tell you to make the right decision.
Thanks for coming back. We wish you all the success in the world at Yale.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're going to find success there. You're always welcome back here at St. Helena-Incarnation.
No, but thank you for having me. Truly, it's just, this building means so much to me. And this building, I spent majority of my life in this building, and being back and seeing the people like you, it's super special. And it's not something that every school has, and St. Helena is so fortunate to be able to have administrators like you to be able to fight for students. So thank you too.
Thanks.
Yeah.